Alright, we are live, ladies and germs. And I'll tell you, this was not a good Road America race whatsoever. I wanted it to be, but 'twas just not the case. And I don't know if you can hear them booms in the background, but that's people letting off fireworks because it's 4th of July weekend. As oh, shithead here wants to get some more camera time. Quit sticking your balls in the camera. Seriously, cat. You did this morning. Why is it every time that I try to do a live race review, you want to get in the fucking camera? Alright, come on. Get out of the way. Love that little shit to death, but he can be a pain in the ass. But, yeah, we're going to go ahead and do the race review for Road America, and it was not good. So, let's get into it. This is the fuel. What's happening, ladies and germs? This is the Packerman, and welcome to tonight's edition of The Fuel. Of course, I had one this morning covering the Nashville Cup race last week, but now we're going to be talking about the Cup race that took place a couple hours ago, which was the 2022 Kwik Trip 250 presented by Jockey in America. I think that's what it's called, at Road America. Now, you know, I've always been a huge fan of Road America from the times that we watched the Xfinity series racing on it, and IndyCar as well. And the Cup race last year was also a solid Cup race. But oh, you want an orange one? But I gotta be honest here. This race at Road America this year was total ass hammers. Like, hardly anything of import happened whatsoever. I mean, really, the only interesting thing that seemed to happen was towards the end of this race when it was Tyler Reddick and Chase Elliott going at it for the race win. Cat, please lay down. And of course, it ended with Tyler Reddick getting his first career Cup Series win. Cat, go lay down. As I was saying, it ended with Reddick getting his first career Cup Series victory. I was watching myself in the replay. Sorry, I was watching myself in the little replay, throwing the cat out the friggin' door. I just found that funny for some reason. He's a little shit. But anywho, but yeah, this race was just not very good. I mean, there were a couple of positives to this race, like the fact that there were no caution flags. I don't count the stage breaks as cautions. So, I mean, this was the first caution-free race, technically, for the Cup Series since Richmond in 2020. But this was just not a good race. I mean, I tried to find, interesting things, to write down in my little notebook. But, Cat, seriously. Yeah. Like I said, as OBS seems to be fucking messing up again. Come on. Quit being a prick. Boom. Yeah, you're going to be hearing some fireworks in the background because, like I said, it's 4th of July weekend, and god damn it, Cat. Yeah, I can see you in the camera, you little shit. What? Why do you always gotta bother me when I'm doing a race review, huh? 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 Come on. Come on. Go down. Alright, looks like OBS is recovering a little bit. It's been doing that a little bit lately. It's kind of annoying. Because it makes the stream look like shit. Even if it doesn't show up on OBS, I do have it on whatever the fuck you call it, the live stream control room, where I can see the what's going on the live stream. And I noticed when the OBS KBS started dipping, the picture started looking like shit. So that's kind of how I know that OBS is kind of screwing up. Seriously? You are just going to be a pain in the ass tonight, aren't you? Yeah. Anyways. But yeah. This race was the pits. And it's a shame because there's been some rumors that it may or may not even be on the schedule next year. But, yeah, not really much to talk about from this race. So let's go ahead and get into the news of the week, because there is quite a bit of news that we gotta get to. Alright, so starting with the first headline, of course, well, first two in this case, is the ratings from the previous races. The first one was at Sonoma, which pulled 2.235 million viewers on FS1, which was okay, I suppose, for FS1, but it actually took a dip in terms of viewership from the previous season. Boom. So, not really impressed with that. And then, during the rain-delayed race in Nashville, it pulled 2.921 million viewers while it was on NBC, on the main program. So, yeah, I would say the rain delay had a lot to do with that number being a little bit skewed. So it kind of sucks, but you can't really control the weather. Although you can control the start times, and the start times could have been better, for sure. Moving on. Well, we figured out, we found out why Clint Boyer was not present at Sonoma in the booth, and that's because he was involved in a fatal accident with a pedestrian. And I put in parentheses, Clint is fine, because if I would have just put Clint Boyer involved in a fatal accident with a pedestrian. A lot of people might think, oh my God, was Clint Boyer actually killed in the crash? No. He's actually fine. Physically, he is anyways. But, yeah, it was a pretty serious little deal. So, let me see if I can find it here. Alright, so this is from Fox 4 Kansas City on their website. NASCAR's Clint Boyer involved in a deadly crash near Lake of the Ozarks. So this is basically what happened. An investigation is complete following a crash involving Emporia, Kansas native and former NASCAR Cup Series driver Clint Boyer. A 47-year-old woman died in the crash. So what happened? The crash was reported just before 9 p.m. on Sunday, June the 5th. Yes, this was a month ago. Near US 54 and Missouri Highway 242 near Osage Beach, Missouri. So according to a crash report from the Lake Ozark Police Department, Boyer was driving westbound on US 54 and was approaching Missouri 242 when he struck a woman walking on the ramp. And before anybody says, well, was he drinking or anything like that? No. The crash report states, once Boyer realized the crash occurred, he immediately hit his brakes. He called 911 and helped point first responders to the female victim, who was pronounced dead at the scene. The woman has been identified as Mary Jane Simmons of Camdenton, Missouri. Boyer's vehicle was reported to have sustained heavy front driver's side damage and major damage to the windshield directly in front of the driver's seat. The crash report states that Boyer showed zero signs of impairment and provided a roadside sample of .000 blood alcohol content, meaning that he did not have a drop of alcohol. But here's where it gets interesting. A crystalline substance was found where the female victim's belongings were located, and is believed to be methamphetamine, according to the report. She was believed to be under the influence of drugs, according to the crash report. So this woman was probably under the influence of meth, because I mean, why else would you be walking on the highway at 9 o'clock at night? You know, in poor, the sun's going down, it's going to get hard to see, and I mean, Boyer, he probably had no idea whatsoever that someone was walking on the road in front of him. I mean, this honestly reminds me of what happened with Dwayne Haskins not too long ago. He was apparently under the influence of alcohol. He was pissed drunk. Got out of his car on the highway and was struck by a garbage truck. Killed him on the spot. And it hit particularly hard for me because he was a former Ohio State Buckeye quarterback. So yeah, that was particularly hard to swallow when that happened. And now it seems like we have a similar instance here, except this time we have Clint Boyer, who struck this woman who was under the influence of meth, according to the crash report. And Clint Boyer Racing released the following statement from Boyer. Anyone that knows me knows that family is everything to me. My thoughts and prayers with the family and loved ones of Miss Simmons. This is a very difficult time for my family and I. Please respect our privacy as we move forward. And what sucks about all this is the fact that Clint Boyer, through no fault of his own, is going to have to live the rest of his life with the knowledge that he took the life of another human. And why that sucks is it was completely out of his control. Like, he had no idea. Cat, get out of the camera. He literally had no idea that this person, under the influence of meth, was walking down the highway that he was driving on. And it literally could have been anybody that hit this woman. And it turned out to be Clint Boyer. And a lot of us were a little bit concerned when he was noticeably absent from the Sonoma broadcast, and it's like, well, what the heck's going on? And we didn't find out about this until later that same week. And it's just an incredibly shitty situation. Regardless of how you feel about Clint Boyer and his job in the booth, none of that fucking matters, okay? You know, I mean, it just sucks. This just sucks all around. You know. So thoughts and like he said, thoughts and prayers with the Simmons family and with Clint Boyer as well, because he's gonna have to have this hanging over his head for the rest of his life. And that shouldn't be the case whatsoever. So it's just a really shitty situation all around. Moving on. One second. I think OBS was being a little prick again. Hopefully it didn't cut out all that, because that would suck ass. Oh well. But anyways, moving on. So this was a bit of a hot button topic this week. NASCAR potentially replacing Road America with the Chicago street course race. Give me 1 second here. Alright, so NASCAR is getting closer to announcing a new street race in Chicago that would start next year per sources. And Adam Stern reported this on Twitter on June 17th. Not yet clear who would lose a race, but NASCAR appears open to dropping a road course, and Road America doesn't have a deal yet for 2023. Of course, this is in the Sports Business Journal, so let's take a look at this as soon as it loads up. So, sources: NASCAR close to bringing a street race to Chicago. So, NASCAR is getting closer to announcing a new street race in Chicago that would start next year, according to sources, as the series looks to further shake up its schedule heading into media rights talks. NASCAR execs, including President Steve Phelps and COO Steve O'Donnell, have hinted in recent media interviews that the series is working on one big change for the 23 Cup Series schedule, and that is believed to be the Chicago street race. Of course, this has been rumored before. Of course, iRacing put in a potential circuit on their game, but now it seems like it's being reported that it might be actually happening next year. Sports Business Journal reported in February that NASCAR remained in talks with Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot, the Chicago Sports Commission, and others on a street race. The deal is not yet completed, but sources say they are concerted talks, working toward an agreement for the race to start next year. NASCAR has already stated that the goal is to have the 23 schedule announced by the end of the summer. It is not yet clear which support series, Xfinity and/or Truck, would also be part of the race weekend, or which venue would lose a race to make way for the Chicago event. But NASCAR has started hinting that it may be open to dropping a road course, and Road America President Mike Kircher recently said that the Wisconsin track doesn't have a deal yet for next year with NASCAR. After several years of featuring nothing but the same venues, NASCAR started shaking up its schedule in 21 with moves like going to Circuit of the Americas and Road America, on top of turning Bristol into a dirt track for its spring event. This year it added an exhibition at LA Coliseum and a race near St. Louis. Media rights talks will formally start next year ahead of a new deal that would begin in 2025. NASCAR is seeking to impress incumbent and prospective broadcasters by showing that it is innovating and bringing its sport to the next generation, in part by racing more often in cities. This also comes amid a boom for street races in general in the U.S. F1 added one in Miami this year and has another one coming next year in Las Vegas, while IndyCar added a new street event in Nashville last year. All of which saw major success. So I could definitely see why NASCAR would be interested in bringing a street course race to Chicago. But let's be completely real here. I don't think anybody wants to see Road America drop from the schedule. I mean, yeah, the race today might not have been the best, but I mean, Road America is a favorite among race car drivers, fans, and teams. And taking Road America off the schedule, but leaving a track like Texas Motor Speedway on it, just seems like the dumbest thing in the world, because Texas Motor Speedway fucking sucks, and as far as I'm concerned, it doesn't even deserve one race date, let alone two. So, I mean, I would love to see a street course race for the Cup Series, because I've never seen one for Cup before. In fact, I don't even know if they've ever had a street course race, like an official street course race. I'd have to look back through the record books to find that out. But, yeah. I don't want to see Road America be sacrificed for the sake of this Chicago street race. But that's just me. I mean, if you want to get rid of a road course, I mean, honestly, you could probably do away with the Indianapolis road course and maybe get rid of another track that, you know, isn't doing so hot as far as attendance is concerned. You know, I mean, does Atlanta or Darlington really need two races? Honestly. And then maybe bring, you know, the oval back for Indianapolis to see what it would do with these new cars. I don't know. But that's just me. Valvoline extended its partnership with Hendrick through 2027, which is good news for Hendrick because sponsorship is a big deal. So Valvoline is, and again, this is through Adam Stern, is extending with Team Hendrick for 5 more years through 2027 with annual assets including 3 primaries with Kyle Larson and 2 with William Byron. And Valvoline retains its status as the team's official lubricant. So, good deal for Team Hendrick there. Some silly season news. Truex will return in 2023 with JGR. He was. There was an interview. I'm guessing before Nashville. Yes, the Nashville thing is in the background. So he was asked about why he made the decision to come back to JGR in 2023 and basically come back for 1 more year. I don't think that was supposed to be on while I've been talking. So hopefully that didn't fuck things up. But this is what Truex had to say. Let me put my headphones on so I can hear this too. And let's see what Truex has to say. He was asked what influenced his decision to remain at JGR for 2023. Let's turn this back on here. Let's see what he has to say.
Right now next year. So
as you work through this, go ahead.
Did Joe have to do any convincing to you? Like, I mean,
he's pretty good. No, I didn't. I tried to just think about all this myself and figure it out. Friends and family help as well. So yeah, I just wanted to look and make sure I was doing the right thing.
You won your title. You've had a few near misses, right? And I'm curious
3?
if 3. Is that something? I'm curious if those had any impact either way. Like,
Yes.
at some point where you're like, man, I've got to. The odds should be that I win another one of these, but also the frustration of this system and everything. Like, I can work all season and it come down to that.
I mean, they were definitely heartbreakers, and you always look back at those as those were really, really tough to swallow. But also they're really, really good seasons. So it's hard to say like that was terrible and I would never want to be in that position again. If you can't finish first, you want to finish second. So I think this day and age it's hard to get in that position. It's hard to make the Final Four. It's hard to make it to that. So I'd love to get another opportunity, and I feel like the chances of that are still there. And if they weren't, I wouldn't be here. I don't race for anything less than putting myself out there and doing the best we can do, and I feel like we can still do it. So. When I told her I wasn't sure way back when I was like, I'm going to try to take a really good look at this because I've never done it before, of what's best for me to do right now. She's like, well, don't ask me. I'm not saying a word. 'Cause, either way, if I would have made a decision that I wasn't happy with eventually, that she didn't want to be responsible. So she did good.
Do you think that's because she didn't want maybe you to make the decision based on maybe what she would want?
Yeah, for sure. We have a very good relationship, and she wants me to do what I want to do, and she does what she wants to do, and we kind of live that way. It's really fun, healthy, and I'm sure she'll be happy that I'm still racing because the competitive side of me, and even her to an extent, she wants to see me out there fighting with these guys on weekends too. So yeah.
So there you have it. Truex will remain with GHR for 2023. And some more silly season news. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. and JTG Daughtery have agreed to a contract extension. It's not much of one, though. It's just the contract extension through next year. So obviously they're going to give it one more year to kind of see what happens. They haven't really had a good season this year. So, but there really isn't anything else for Ricky out there right now. So we'll have to wait and see what happens as far as they're concerned. But the big one that was also announced, and the timing of this is pretty crazy. RCR picks up Tyler Reddick's option for 2023. So obviously, I think Reddick's contract was up at the end of this year, and RCR decided, you know what, we'll bring him back for next year. Obviously, Reddick's had a couple of near misses this year as far as getting into victory lane. Of course, we talk more about today's race in that regard. But yep, they decided to pick up his option for 2023. So Reddick will remain in that 8 car for the foreseeable future. And then finally, some sad news to report. Bruton Smith, Speedway Motorsports Incorporated founder, businessman, philanthropist, and NASCAR Hall of Famer, passed away on June the 22nd at the age of 95. That is a long freaking life, man. I actually remember when me, my mother, my sister, and my stepfather, and a few others went to Bristol in 2013, in the spring of 2013. He was actually there. And we actually saw him there, basically intermingling with the fans, which was pretty cool. And, has he done some shitty shit in the past? Yeah, sure. He's done that. I mean, a lot of people have done that all throughout NASCAR history, but would NASCAR be what it is today without him? No. I mean, for starters, he helped make the Charlotte Motor Speedway into what it is today with a little bit of help from Curtis Turner, but he helped make the Charlotte Motor Speedway what it is today, and basically built an empire in the NASCAR ranks through Speedway Motorsports Incorporated. So, he is a legendary businessman to say the least, and yeah, it is pretty sad that he passed away on June the 22nd. But man, what a life he lived! 95 years of age. I don't think he ever retired either, which is insane to think about. But some people are just workaholics, and he was certainly one of them. So, thoughts and prayers with the Smith family as they're going through this as well. And that is what has gone down on News of the Week over the past couple of weeks. Because don't forget, we also had an off week following Sonoma. So there's quite a bit of news stories that came out this week. But that was it for News of the Week. So let's go ahead and get into the race review and get this done and over with. Alright, so this is, of course, your 144th edition of the Fuel, and we're going to be reviewing the Kwik Trip 250 at Road America. I titled the episode Not a Good Case for Road America, and I titled it that because, I mean, they don't have a deal for next year, and this race was just not good whatsoever. So, give me 1 second here. There we go. Got my book of notes here. Alright, so 2022 Kwik Trip 250 race notes. Stages broke down like this. Stages 1 and 2 were 15 laps, with stage 3 being 32 laps. It was only a 62 lap race, but you know, it's a 4-mile road course too. Alright, so stage 1, 15 laps. Busch once again had to go to the rear of the field for the second week in a row, this time for an engine, and he was just basically a non-factor the entire day. So Chasa Elliott started from the pole, and he was pretty much, you know, the dominant driver. Chase Briscoe stayed side by side with Elliott all the way to turn 5, but Elliott finally pulled ahead there and leads lap 1. Buescher and Chastain start battling hard for the 9th position. Elliott started reporting that his steering in the right-handers was only at about 70%, yet he was much faster than the rest of the field. Kyle Busch and Eric Almirola tangle in turn 5 after Kyle spins trying to make a pass, and Almirola actually got on the curbing and went wide in turn 5. Both were able to continue on. Chastain gets by Bowman for 7th in turn 5. Cindric gets by Michael McDowell for 5th. Kyle Larson and Tyler Reddick are the first to pit under green with 3 to go in stage 1, which is, you know, typical strategy for road courses with the stage racing. Elliott pits from the lead with 2 to go in stage 1 because, you know, once 2 to go comes, pit road is closed. Briscoe stays out. Hamlin gets penalized for driving through too many pit stalls, not once, but twice. And, you know, I find it funny that, you know, he was talking to the media. Let me pull this up here, because somebody pulled this up. He was talking about, you know, how Bubba shouldn't be embarrassing the team, you know, basically because of his, you know, him slamming the team after what happened in Nashville last week. You know, but I find it funny that he's talking about not embarrassing the team when he has 26 pit road penalties this year on his own accord. And we're just now to the halfway point of the season. And as this person here says, Sarah Davis, you know, who is embarrassing his team and whose team is embarrassing him? Seems to me like it's the 23 team that's embarrassing Bubba Wallace, and Denny Hamlin is the one embarrassing his team. Because Hamlin's the one making all these pit road mistakes. Whereas you look at, you know, what's going on with Bubba Wallace, you know, it's his team, it's his pit crew that's fucking up. Hamlin, I swear to God, Hamlin can be one of the most infuriating drivers on the circuit, because there are times this year where I've defended him, and then there are times like this where it's like, what a fucking idiot, dude. I mean, you talk about someone who doesn't even know what the fuck is going on his own goddamn team. You know, some people are wondering, man, why is Trackhouse doing better than 2311 right now? Maybe because Trackhouse is actually a more cohesive unit right now, and 2311 is just, it just seems like it's a fucking jumbled mess right now. You know, it's fucking ridiculous. But anyways, Chase Briscoe wins stage 1. Several drivers get much needed stage points, including Harrison Burton, Bubba Wallace, Eric Jones, and Justin Haley. Those who stayed out come in under the stage break. So we go to stage number 2, which is also 15 laps. Elliott leads the start of stage 2. Elliott moves ahead of Larson, who started beside him in turn 3. McDowell gets by Busher for 5th. There was lots of contact at the back of the pack. Reddick gets by Larson for 2nd in turn 5. Logano goes too hard in turn 5 and cleans out Bubba Wallace. Yeah. Elliott starts reporting that the brake pedal was starting to get a little long, so he's starting to get some brake fade as well, but he was still quick. Drivers start to peel down pit road towards the end of stage 2 once again. Elliott pits from the lead the next lap. Blaney stays out, and Blaney wins stage 2. Yeah, I got both of the first 2 stages on one page. Literally nothing fucking happened in this race. This race was a snooze fest. Those that didn't pit before the stage break pit under this stage break. And there were quite a few penalties under this stage break. Todd Gilliland for speeding. Byron for pitting when pit road was closed. Byron is just fucking dog shit recently. Keselowski for driving through too many pit boxes, and Kyle Busch for a crew member over the wall too soon. And Kyle also even had a speeding penalty on the final pit stop as well. So it's just not a good day overall for Joe Gibbs Racing, once again. So Elliott leads the start of stage 3. Larson goes wide in turn 5 and gets passed by Chastain, who moves up to 3rd. Reddick tries to challenge Elliott for the race lead. Larson starts trying to get back to Chastain for 3rd. Bubba Wallace spins across the nose of Keselowski in turn 1. He was trying to do an undercut on him and came across Keselowski's nose and into the gravel, but somehow gets out. There was a lot of gravel that was coming out of the back of his car as he was getting underway, but no caution for that. Larson moves Chastain into the grass off of turn 13 for 3rd. 5th on back through 11th was in close proximity with each other, with Suarez, Busher, McDowell, Cindric, Austin Dillon, and Truex all fighting for position, which was alright. Truex was the first to pit under green on lap 42, so 20 laps to go. Bell was having trouble with the right rear tire, didn't seem to want to come off or go on as it seemed to look like, so he lost a lot of track position. Elliott and Reddick pit from the top 2 spots in lap 44. Elliott swings the car right in front of Reddick coming off of pit road to keep what was the provisional lead at this point, because they were far and away the 2 best cars on the track. I mean, by the time it was all said and done, I think both of them were like 20 seconds ahead of 3rd place. I mean, that's how fucking quick both of those cars were. Reddick kept things close with Elliott. And then Elliott goes wide in turn 5, and this allows Reddick to finally make the pass on Elliott. Harrison Burton was the last of the leaders to come to pit road. Reddick is now the race leader with 14 laps to go. He did pass Harrison Burton on track. I know some people will think, well, was that a pure lead change? No, because Harrison Burton hadn't come to pit road yet. So he was on a different pit cycle than Reddick, or a different pit strategy than Reddick. So it doesn't count as a pure lead change. If you don't like it, you can kiss my ass. Elliott was still within striking distance of Reddick. There was a bit of beating banging back in the pack between Bowman and Blaney. But, I mean, Elliott tried to keep things close, but with about 5 laps to go, he started dropping back, and I honestly think that he just kind of conceded the race to Reddick at that point. Tell you what, Reddick's teammate Austin Dillon nearly screwed it up for him, because he had a flat left front tire in turn 3, but thankfully the carcass did not come off the car, and he actually managed to get off in turn 5. And Tyler Reddick wins the Quick Trip 250 to become the 5th first-time winner in 2022 and the 13th different winner in 2022. So we're getting pretty damn close to 16 different winners, and we still have 8 races left before the playoffs officially begin. Yeah. And with as much parity as we've had, and a lot of drivers that we know are good and have won races last year still have not won this year. You know, guys like Truex, Blaney, Christopher Bell. I mean, there's a lot of guys that have not won this year that could still win in the next 8 races and really make this interesting. So, man, 32 laps, but you know, it's whatever. But this race sucked. So let's go to the stats and awards, get this done, and then we'll be done with this review. So total laps, it was 62 laps, 15, 15, and 32. There were only 8 overall lead changes in this entire race, and most of those was on the exchange of pit stops. And Reddick passing Elliott was not a lead change because they were back in the pack. It was like 4th and 5th at the time because other drivers had stayed out and were leading ahead of them at the time. So that does not count as a pure lead change because it was not an official lead change. So as a result, there were 0 pure lead changes in this race. Where the fuck have you heard that before? It's not the first time this season we've seen that stat. But thankfully, there were 0 caution flags. It was a caution-free race, and no, the stage breaks do not count, in my opinion. And we had 2,080 green flag passes, which on average is 34.7, but, I mean, in the grand scheme of things, it wasn't that great. Especially when we didn't see a lot of them. So, yeah, it was just not a good race. Lap leader award goes to Chasa, who led 36 laps. The star of the race goes to Tyler Reddick because, I mean, he beat one of the best road course racers in the Cup Series to get that first career win and did it in convincing fashion. So, I mean, what else can you say? I normally don't give this award to race winners because, I mean, it's just too easy of a pick. But, I mean, in this case, I mean, there really wasn't anybody else that impressed me other than Tyler Reddick. So, there you go. Reject of the race. I honestly thought about giving it to Joe Gibbs Racing for the 3rd week in a row, but that gets boring after a while. So instead, I'm going to give it to just one member of Joe Gibbs Racing, and that's Denny Hamlin for his dumbass comments that he made about Bubba Wallace, his own driver, by the way, and then, I mean, being just a total fucking embarrassment for his team with all the pit road penalties that he's had this year. So, there you go. So, race results for the Kwik Trip 250. Tyler Reddick with the win, actually led 16 laps. Chase Elliott finishes 2nd, Kyle Larson in 3rd, Ross Chastain 4th, so he continues his consistent run this year. As well as his teammate Daniel Suarez, who backs up with Sonoma win with a top 5. You have Chris Buescher finishing 6th. Austin Cindric, who actually got his 3rd top 10 in a row. Micah McDowell with another top 10. AJ Allmendinger with his first top 10 of the year. And Kevin Harvick, again, somehow sneaks into the top 10, despite not being anywhere near the top 10 for much of the race. Point standings with 8 races remaining before the regular season ends. Chase Elliott continues to lead the way. Ryan Blaney moves up to 2nd, 33 points back. And you have Chastain, Larson, and Logano in the top 5. Rest of the top 10 include Kyle Busch, who's been on a horrendous run the last couple weeks. Martin Truex Jr., Christopher Bell, Alex Bowman, and William Byron, who's dropped all the way to 10th now. And then the rest of the top 20 include Kevin Harvick, Eric Almirola, Tyler Reddick, Austin Cindric, Kurt Busch, Chase Briscoe, Daniel Suarez, Eric Jones, Austin Dillon, and Denny Hamlin. Now, when it gets to the point where it becomes really relevant, I'm also going to add what the playoff field looks like the graphic that NBC does, but I'm not going to do that until the time is right, and that won't be for another couple weeks. Which brings us to the F1 standings. Let's go with Xfinity first. Trucks had the week off this week, which is good for them because they had 8 straight weeks. So Xfinity Series points look like this, and yes, we have a new points leader once again, and it is Ty Gibbs. I'm pretty sure much to the chagrin of a lot of people because he's not a very well-liked guy in the Xfinity garage right now. But, I mean, he pulled off a brilliant pass for the win on the last lap on Kyle Larson, who had dominated the day, to get his 4th win of the season. That's about all you can say. Noah Gragson, I mean, what a dumbass. I mean, and he also showed how fucking, just dense he is and how fucking unaware of his, just completely a lack of self-awareness when he said that, he wrecked Sage Karam on purpose out of turn 3 and basically caused a massive wreck, wrecking most of the field and potentially causing some injuries. I mean, Brandon Brown got out of his car after nailing the 48 of Tyler Reddick and was basically, I mean, he looked like he was in a lot of pain. Thankfully, it looked like he just, according to medical reports, he just had the wind knocked out of him, which is good. But I mean, it was just a completely dumb, unsafe thing for Noah to do. And then on top of that, his post-race interview, he's like, "Well, Sage Karam started it, and I'm the one who finishes it." Like, you're a fucking idiot, dude. I mean, you're a good driver, but Jesus Christ. I mean, some of the shit you do on the track is just it just makes you look like a fucking Nimrod. And honestly, he probably should have been parked by NASCAR for it. But apparently all he got was a slap on the wrist, which is, I mean, NASCAR just looks like a fucking idiot in and of themselves for that too. But then again, what else is new? NASCAR officialdom doesn't know what the fuck they're doing. And they wonder why I shit on him so much. Well, maybe if you made some better decisions, I wouldn't have a reason to fucking shit on you from such a height. But anyways, Justin Allgaier drops to third. Then you have A.J. Allmendinger and Josh Berry. I mean, those five have been pretty much the class of the field this year. You have Sam Mayer, Austin Hill, Brandon Jones, Riley Herbst, and Daniel Hemrick rounding out the top 10. There you see the rest of the top 20, which include Kyle Larson, who, because of the amount of points that he earned, is in the top 20 in the Xfinity Series. I mean, that just goes to show you how top-heavy the Xfinity Series is right now. And then on the Cup side of things, on the F1 points side, Ross Chastain continues to be consistent, scoring points. Has 253. Chase Elliott, who moved up to second, though, gained a little bit on him. So he is now 34 points behind Chastain in the F1 standings. And you have Kyle Larson in third. Kyle Busch drops to fourth. Those four guys are over 200 points. We actually have 16 guys over 100 points. Rest of the top 10 include Joey Logano, Ryan Blaney, William Byron. Tyler Reddick with his first win moves up to 8th. Then you have Truex and Christopher Bell. A lot of good drivers in that top 20, as you can see, and a lot of them have a win. I mean, also think about this. This is the farthest that the NASCAR Cup Series has gone in a season before and nobody has more than 2 wins. Normally, at this point in the season, somebody already has 3 wins, and that is not the case. This has truly been a season of parity, and it has been great. Just not this race today. Which brings us to the fuel gauge and my final rating for today's race. Well, this race was just not good. I mean, there were a couple of positives. Tyler Reddick getting his first career win was one positive. It being a caution-free race was another positive. But other than that, there was just not much to this race whatsoever. I mean, it was fucking boring. You know, it was just not a good case, and really not a good thing for Road America, as I guess they're trying to get a new deal together with NASCAR for next year, and you know, with rumors circulating about, you know, the Chicago street course race, this race is not going to help matters whatsoever. So, I mean, the best I can give it is a 2. I mean, I hate to give Road America a rating that low, because I am a huge fan of Road America, but I gotta call it like I see it. And what I saw was just not good. It was just not good viewing. I mean, Chase Elliott was pretty much the class of the field, and then Tyler Reddick pretty much joined him. I mean, by the time that race was over with, third place Kyle Larson was 20 seconds behind. I'm sorry, I don't consider that a good race. I mean, Reddick and Elliott tried to make it interesting, but despite the fact that it went caution-free, and it honestly helped the race go by a lot quicker, this was only about a 2.5-hour race, which is good. That's another positive I should add. But, I mean, other than that, there was literally nothing to this race. It was a total nothing burger. And like I said, I hate saying that about Road America, but I have to call it like I see it. And this race was just not good. And it sucks because NASCAR might use that as an excuse to take this track off the schedule to put the Chicago Street Race on. And if we lose Road America but we keep Texas Motor Speedway, fuck that shit. But anyways, that's going to do it for tonight's edition of The Fuel. 2 episodes this week because, you know, I wanted to do the Nashville review last Monday, but of course I got sick and wasn't able to do anything, really, other than work and then sleep, and that's about it, because I felt like dog shit all this week. But at least we got both episodes out of the way tonight. So now we're caught up as far as The Fuel is concerned. So that's good. I'm probably going to be, even though it's late, I'm probably going to do a Green Gold Games live stream here in a minute, because I do want to make up a little bit for what I missed this week. And I do want to continue playing State of K2 because, I mean, right now I think it's the only game on the 3 that I'm doing that actually has a way to use fireworks because it is 4th of July weekend. So I want to play a little bit more State of K2, you know, because it's my show. I can do whatever the fuck I want. But I'll probably be doing that here in a few minutes. But, yeah, 2 out of 10 for Road America, which kind of sucks. And next week we go to Atlanta, which has been turned into a super speedway, so we'll judge that one accordingly. At least the one next week is only 400 miles, so there's that. But thank you very much for watching tonight's edition of The Fuel. And until next time, this is the Packer Man signing out. See you later. Thank you for watching tonight's video. Be sure to like and subscribe, you jackweeds.